Hey everybody, today we are going to do another problem on LeetCode. Let me just pick a random one here. I'm just going to organize them. I'm just going to pick an easy one. I have never seen this problem before. Let's find out how hard this is going to be. Because the other one said it was easy, but I actually had a little bit of trouble with it the other day. Alright, you're given two strings, J representing the types. Okay, I see. So we have to match up the letters that are in this string, which are jewels, and then the stones contain all, yeah. Okay. So each character in S is the type of stone you have. I want to know how many stones are also in jewel. Okay. So the other example is the Z. ZZ would be 0 because it's case sensitive. S and J will consist of letters and have length at most 50. Okay. Characters in J are distinct. So each character in J is going to be unique. Alright. Interesting. Okay. So let's switch to JavaScript. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to type it out in terms of like what the process should be really. So maybe we should really is store the jewels because they're guaranteed distinct in J. We could actually use an object for that, or a hash table really. I believe it's called a hash table. So basically we will just assign every element in J to an J as a key on an object, right? So we're just gonna make an object with a bunch of keys that would be any particular. So in this case, for this input, it would just be, there would be the key of A and then the key of uppercase A on the object. And then we would just, the next step would be to iterate through this, see if any match up to the J, and then increase the count on those properties, and then we can sum all the properties at the end. So the next step would be to iterate over S, yeah, capital S, counting each instance of counting each, I'm just gonna put match of a property on J, and then if match increase the count on that hash table, and then the last one would be sum up all counts in J object. Okay, so first step will be to go over J, and so we'll just say J, these are capital J's, so let's go ahead and let J hash equal J dot, let's go ahead and use reduce. I'm gonna use for loops. Whoop. Just because it won't be simpler, but it'll be a little less hidden, I guess. So we just create an object there, and then we're just gonna say for let equal let I equal, oh my god, I can't type, equal 0, and as long as I is less than J dot length, we're gonna increase the I. Okay, so it's gonna go through all of J. So if j hash dot j I, so the value at j index there, if that exists, then we're just going to increase the, so let me try and break it down exactly. Well, let me just see if it'll work first and then we'll break it down. So we're checking the jhash object, and if there is a key inside of it with the value of at j of I, so let's just say it's lowercase a. So if jhash contains lowercase a, this will return true, and then we can just say jhash at j of I equal or plus plus, well, it would be jhash there. I wonder if plus plus would work. Let's find out. So if that's not gonna be the case, we're gonna say else, which the first run it would be. So this is gonna fail the first run. So then we'll just say jhash at j of I is equal to 1. All right, and so that's the first step. And so let's just see if that's gonna work. Log jhash. So if I just run this code real quick, we should see, oh, all right, we got a couple errors here. Let's look here. J is not defined. I used the lowercase j somewhere. J, all of them. Okay, I'll try running that again. Let's check again. Jhash is not defined. Misspelled somewhere. Yep, there it is. Cool. Run it again. All right. Output undefined. Standard. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's working. So it's creating an object of 1 and 1. The input is that A, and it's creating an object A and capital A. So 2 distinct ones. All right, cool. So we have that first thing down. So now we have our jhash, and it's created a count. Well, actually, it wouldn't. All of it, because it was saying all of them are distinct. Now it's just created the thing. So maybe we should actually implement it to 0, because the joules could be, we could have A, but then we couldn't necessarily, like, see right here where we have joules of Z, where we'd create the object and it would be 0, but then we compare it to the stones, it would still remain 0, and we'd want 0. So we actually want to initialize these to 0, because these are just, we're just kind of building our map first, and then we're gonna go over the S string, and that's actually what's gonna increase our counts. So we have our for loop there. Cool. All right, iterate over S, counting each match for property on J. So now we will do another for loop. Let I, I should probably, well, they could be the same actually, because they're just scoped, because I'm using let, I is scoped to just this block. Now if I was using a var here, it wouldn't be, it would be out in the global scope and I would have to use a different letter. But because I'm using let inside of a for loop, it's just scoped to the block of the for loop. So let I equal 0, I is, while I is, I always mess that up, less than s dot length, and then I plus plus. All right, so we're gonna do iterate over the same, like a different array now. We're actually going off of S instead of J, but same for loop structure. We're using I, it's just we're using J in this one, and in this one we're gonna use I or S. Okay, so let's go ahead, and so for the first value is going to be the first one in S. And so what we'll want to do is we'll say if si is actually we'll also search j again. We'll do kind of the same search thing we did up here to see if it's present. So if j hash, oh, there we go. So we're searching again the j hash, but if we have the value of s at I, then this will be true. And that's when we're going to say j hash s of I plus plus. And then we're just going to say, that's all we really need to do. We just need to increase that at 1. And if not, else, I'm just going to say continue. Now, we don't necessarily need this else continue here. I'm putting it in for readability, so that if someone else were to come along and read this code, they would understand that, like, this is the logic I'd worked out, where if this is happening, else just continue with the loop. Whereas if I were to leave that off, they might have to use an extra couple of seconds to think about it, and use that mental energy to think about if we need an else or not for this logic. It's pretty simple for this one, so I don't think it'd be a matter, but just getting into the habit of trying to make your code a little more readable to humans is always a good idea. Okay, cool. So now we can see if this is working by console logging out the jhash again and seeing if it counted up 3. So because that's what would have happened here with this test input of A and A, would make this object, and then it would go through this, and so the A, lowercase a should be 1, and uppercase A should be 2 in this object when I run this code now. Let's find out. We got zeros, a bunch of zeros. Okay, what's happening? So if jhash key of, I'm gonna make this a little more, key equals s of I, right? And then that way I can just say key. Maybe that makes it a little more readable in terms from you guys' perspective. So just key. I'm gonna say plus equals 2. Maybe that has something to do with it. Yeah, because I don't want to. Okay, equals jhash or plus equals 1. Jhash key equals jhash key plus 1. That's what this shorthand is doing. Let's try that again. I like extracting out the key. I might do it up top here actually too. We'll do it in a second. I'll run the code. No, it's still not working. Okay, let's see. So what's actually happening is our bug is it's this if conditional. It's saying let's search the jhash for the value of key, which in the first instance is just going to be lowercase a. It actually finds it. It finds it here with 0, but then it returns this 0 value, and 0 is falsy. So this if statement isn't passing because it's just returning the value of j. So I'm wondering if there's like a Okay, so I figured out what I can do here. So instead of just grabbing the value and it returning 0, what I can actually check for is to see if it's undefined. That will be the actual condition. So I can just say type of jhash, and the type of operator just always returns a string. Let me look that up for you real quick. It's actually quite useful. I remember learning about it at first and thinking, it doesn't seem that useful, but it's very useful actually. So just like in this case, so you see it always returns a string that's the type of the value that you operate on with it. So right here we're operating on the number 42 and it returns the string number. This is a string we're operating on and it returns a string. Same for Boolean, returns Boolean. If something's undeclared, it'll return a string undefined. So that's what we can compare it to. If something's undefined, we can compare it to if the type of something is undefined, we can compare it to the string undefined, and if those two match, it will pass our Boolean test. So if I say hap of jhash key is equal to, I'll do one string, undefined. Now, let's go. Oh, nope, okay. Slightly different error. Oh wait, is not equal to undefined. So we want to do a not equal. That's what it was. There we go, sweet. So look, it counted it up. We have 1 A and 2 capital A's. So the last step in our process, oh, get rid of that. Alright, so the last step will be to, we already did that. Let's put that inside of here. We can get rid of this console log. Whoa, didn't want to delete that. That console log. Cool. So now the last step is really just to add up all the counting we just did, or all the counts in the object. So I can just say let nums to sum equal object dot values, and then I'll pass in our jhash, right? And then we will just say nums to sum dot, we'll just reduce these now. No, I'll stick to for loops just because that's how I started. So for another for loop, let I equal 0, I is less than nums to sum dot value, and then the last one is going to be I plus plus. This is what made all those array methods so much more, like having reduce and map and all that stuff. You didn't have to write for loops anymore, which is nice. But I'm just doing it old school just to show you can do it with for loops if you wanted to. Okay, so we're gonna iterate through this, and I'm just gonna say we're also gonna do let sum equal nothing right now. Actually, I'm gonna say 0. Initialize it to 0. So for that, and then we'll just say sum plus equal nums to sum at index I. And then we will just return, finally, return the sum. Run the code, should pass. Output expected 3, output got 0, what? Okay, let's look. So let's go ahead and console.log nums to sum. Let's see what that says. That's the array, I think it is, yep, 1 and 2, okay. And then as I is less than num to sum dot not value length, that's what it is. There we go. There we go, and then I'll submit it. Let's see, hopefully we get some success here. Looks like it, yeah, sweet. Success. Yay, memory usage was all right. Okay, my memory usage isn't too good. Faster than, okay, I'm slightly faster than the other ones. What? Anyway, just to keep this video short, that's the solution I came up with. I'm just using a couple different for loops. There might be something more efficient. Let me know in the comments if you can think of one or you find a different solution. Thanks for watching.